Hello and welcome to The Take. I'm your host, Chesley McNeil. Each weekday, we're looking at stories, making headlines, and bringing experts from our community to give their take. Here's a look back at some of the top takes from this week and how those in the know are seeing those stories that impact you. Recently, shockwaves rattled Washington with Marjorie Taylor Greene's announcement that she'll resign from Congress, citing a political climate where division now rules over duty. Greene described the environment in Washington as increasingly toxic, calling out a broken system she can, quote, no longer serve everyday Americans.
When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it.
Yeah, this at a time when politics feel more polarizing than ever. One national group is trying to pull Americans back from the extremes by getting people to talk, listen, and find some common ground. Let's welcome in Murray Giles, CEO of 11Angels, to discuss what Greene's exit says about the widening political divide that's going on and whether efforts at bridging the gap, if you will, can offer a path forward. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here, and couldn't agree more that announcement not only sent shockwaves, but it also modeled something that we think is pretty important, that Americans need to pay attention. And it's what we expect in terms of the way we live and the way we behave, but in the people that we send to represent us. So there's a lot going on there, and certainly couldn't agree more that the framework around division has accelerated to a point that we at 11Angels feel pretty passionate about the need to touch people one-on-one, community by community, to make a difference on this.
Yeah, you talk about courageous citizenship. What does that look like in a moment when many feel like politics is far beyond repair here?
Absolutely. When we talk courageous citizenship, what we mean is intentionally engaging in human connection across division. It's the idea that I actually do have my part in this whole process, that yes, I can feel like I have no control because everything I see in my elected officials and in Congress not getting things done. But it has to start with us first, acknowledging our part in the system. Washington called it citizen being the most important role in a democratic republic, in a constitutional republic. That's our part of it. It's choosing to recognize that I can act instead of react, and then I can act together locally. And in doing that, I start to realize that I can work with the people that I choose to, and then put different people into office and be able to support those that are engaging in a way that's about problem solving rather than about tribal warfare.
Maury, what would you say is the most damaging misconception that Republicans and Democrats tend to have about one another right now?
Well, first off, we used to just say that you're right and I'm wrong. Now we say you're evil. It's no longer about me being right and being wrong. It's you're evil. And those labels in the industrial outrage complex, or what we often talk about as conflict entrepreneurs, they put those labels there because they make us feel like the other person must be choosing something that's threatening my existence because they're evil. That's just not true. Republicans and Democrats, Americans are not evil. Sure, there's going to be the very small minority that have malicious intent, but the vast majority don't. Those labels aren't right.
Yeah. Do you think the political polarization has reached the new peak, or are we just stuck in this long plateau?
I think polarization's been around forever, but the toxicity of it is what's reached a powerful level. But I actually believe a lot of the data we're seeing right now of people saying America's best days are in our past, or we can't solve problems, I actually see that in a positive spin of saying maybe we're at the point where enough of us are recognizing that this isn't healthy, it's not sustainable. So if any country in the world can change that trajectory, it's this one, because ultimately we're the ones that have that power.
And how do you get people who, and I got 45 seconds here left, how do you get people who don't want to talk to each other show up in the same room together?
First, you got to have courage. That's why we say courageous citizenship. And the second thing is, when you start feeling the anxiety and frustration, what someone else is saying, stop and ask this question. Tell me more about your life experience that shapes the way you view this issue. When you do that, you'll see them as a person, they'll see your interest in them, and you'll discover you have a lot more in common than you have difference. Then you can build on those shared values.
A major shift at the CDC is raising new questions for parents. A controversial update to its autism and vaccines page is revealing a claim that doctors say has been disproven for decades. Let's start with the data and what it actually shows, beginning with three key facts here. More than 40 large-scale studies involving over 5.6 million people across 7 countries have found no connection between any vaccine and autism. These include from the American Academy and Pediatrics and Autism Science Foundation. But then in a 1989 paper, the Whitfield study sparked the vaccine autism myth. It was quickly retracted for fabricated data, and its author lost his medical license. The CDC says more than 250 genes are associated with autism, and in up to 20% of cases, a single gene explains the diagnosis. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this with Dr. Dimitri Damascus. I think I said that right, from the CDC. He's the former director of CDC's National Center of Immunization and Respiratory Cases. Welcome to the show, Doc.
Good morning.
All right, let's get started with the basics here. What does the global scientific record actually show about vaccines and autism?
Yeah, no, I think you covered it in your sentence before, that really, there's been millions of kids who have been in so many studies, 7 countries, all of which really don't show that there is an association between vaccines and autism. So, I think that most people, most scientists who do this work and who also do vaccine work and who do autism work don't see a link.
So why do experts describe this as a settled science?
Yeah, I mean, so it's good to say that no science is ever completely settled. It's always a process. There can be new data, something new can happen, but in this instance, there's nothing new. So the website was changed, really rehashing prior, really frankly, anti-vaccine sort of notions, and cherry-picked some data to put it together in a way to sort of create doubt. So that the website doesn't go so far as to say that vaccines cause autism. It just says something confusing, which is that it is not scientifically accurate to say that vaccines don't cause autism. So that's not really how science works. So nothing is ever settled, but there's also nothing new to prompt a change on the website. So
how unusual is it for your former agency to make a change like this, or a reverse in a major guidance without any input from scientists?
Yeah, I love to start with, this is not normal, right? This is not the way science works. This is not the way a health agency works. So, this is propaganda that is, really a wolf in sheep's clothing. So there is a mission to create, an association between vaccines and autism. And by putting a seal of approval that says CDC on it, all of a sudden it becomes a source document. Why would you want to do this? I think that there's conflicts of interest. There are people that are working on these websites, such as Secretary Kennedy, who has colleagues and family who will likely try to make money off of litigation around vaccines by claiming that there's some association when there isn't none. So it's very atypical, not normal.
Is that the only risk that this poses to public trust in the CDC and vaccination efforts?
Oh, no. No, I think that we're well, first of all, from the perspective of CDC and vaccines, unfortunately, I don't think that you can trust the website anymore for good information around vaccines. They've proven, not that the scientists are doing this, but they've proven that, it's that plane's been hijacked. Those scientists are being kept hostage, and other people are creating documents. And, what's happening is now there's a source document that can be cited that says CDC says that it is not impossible that vaccines may cause autism. And so that is going to be, I think, a path to a pretty dark place in terms of what people will believe from the CDC, as well as their confidence in vaccines and, frankly, all of medicine. I think it's shook the system.
Wow. Are there specific communities or populations where misinformation spreads faster than others and has greater consequences?
I mean, absolutely. I think that, when you look at vaccine preventable diseases, close-knit communities tend to be the ones that have the larger outbreaks, such as, the Haredi community in Brooklyn when I was there doing measles, or the Mennonite community in Texas. So I think that, people who are on the border, this may put them to the edge of saying that I don't want a vaccine, and that's going to mean more infections, more doctor's visits, more hospitalizations, and unfortunately more deaths in kids.
Yeah, I got about 15 seconds left with you, Doc, here. What's the message you want parents to take away today about vaccines and autism?
Yeah, talk to your pediatrician. Don't believe politicians about vaccines. Talk to your doctor because they're the ones that will give you the best advice.
Move by the U.S. Department of Education is sending shockwaves through college campuses and family budgets. A new reclassification of degree categories could change financial aid, program funding, and even the value of certain majors. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this with Dr. Sanaya Lewis, a financial expert, widely known as the student loan doctor. Hey, Doc, welcome.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing pretty good. All right, what's the very first thing that students and parents need to know about this reclassification?
So this is a big change from the Department of Education. It's narrowing down its definition of a professional degree. So this is going to really affect those that want to study and are currently studying in healthcare, education, social work, business, and other graduate fields. So it's a really big change that's going to go into effect of July 2026.
All right, for students already enrolled, could their financial aid packages change this semester or even next year?
Well, you have to think about it. So what's changing is the overall amount that you're able to borrow for a federal student loan. So limits were upward of $200,000 prior if you were going to pursue a graduate degree in this field, but now they're being lowered to $100,000. So if someone is currently pursuing a master's, for example, in this field, they're definitely going to receive a shockwave that they may not even have now enough money to finish school.
So what made this change happen? I mean, why the move so suddenly, so abruptly?
So the federal government said that they are reevaluating programs which should qualify or should not qualify for a higher borrowing limit. And so for years, graduate borrowers have been taking on extremely high debt with limited oversight in terms of the outcomes, in terms of graduation and being able to pay. And so this administration is hoping to realign borrowers with their earning potential. And that is what is being debated right now.
So should high school seniors do something differently? Should they pick a new major come wintertime? I mean, what should they do?
Yeah, for future borrowers, this is going to mean that there's going to be a change in significant planning in terms of in forecasting what they want to do in terms of profession. So the bachelor's level is being untouched. But when you think about certain fields, you know that you need a master's or a doctoral level to earn the certain income you are intending to earn. This also can close out some students from disproportionately affected students, such as minorities and women, from being able to pursue a master's level degree that highly rely on student loans.
Is there an example out there that you could give us of something that would be reclassified, maybe in the area of business?
So for example,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, business is actually one of them. The MBA program is definitely is a part of this reclassification. I know that students, particularly in the nursing field right now is in an uproar over this because a master's in nursing, you do need more than $100,000. And so this is going to affect those that do not have money outside of the student loan system to pay for school. When you get to the master's level and the doctoral level, a lot of students rely on the federal borrowing limits to achieve their degree. But now with it being cut by more than half, people may not be able to pursue beyond a bachelor's.
And this change is happening like now, right?
As of July, so there are, this could be revised. This is a part of the change of the One Big Beautiful Bill for July. The changes that you are hearing about, they're going to all take place as of July 1st. So there could be a chance, an opportunity to redo this. That's fingers crossed for people that are going to be affected by this most.
Yeah. All right. So finally, if you're a student, I got 30 seconds left here. If you're a student confused or worried, what's the one step that you want them to make before the week ends?
Well, I want them to log into studentaid.gov and I want them to check their borrowing limit. A lot of people don't know what they have already borrowed. And then the second part is talk to your school, talk to your current field there and see if they have any scholarships or grants available for you so that you can make a good plan for 2026 and beyond.
One of Georgia's most popular long-distance trail networks has taken another major step forward. A new segment of the Silver Commerce Connector is now open, part of a long-term plan to link neighborhoods, expand safe mobility, and ultimately bring the trail straight into the heart of downtown Atlanta. Joining us now is one of the leaders behind the project, Solomon Cavanis, Commissioner for the Atlanta Department of Transportation. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Good morning, 11Alive community. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. You know, for our viewers who haven't seen this yet, what exactly does this new segment add to the Silver Comet Connector?
Yeah, so our Silver Comet Connector is part of the trail network within Atlanta that connects MacArthur Boulevard from Chattahoochee Avenue over to the Whetstone Trail. So it's about a half-mile segment that connects the community to an active lifestyle and trail access.
So why was this latest stretch to open such an important link in the larger trail network?
Yeah, so this is just an example of what's possible in the city of Atlanta and the greater Atlanta community. We're laser focused on building out our trails network throughout the city. And eventually, by 2027, we want to be able to connect downtown to the Chattahoochee River. Silver Comet Trail extends all the way to Alabama. So just imagine being able to get from downtown Atlanta out to Alabama by way of these connections. And these trail extensions are a great opportunity to connect communities.
Yeah. Want to know if you got any feedback, and if you got feedback from neighbors and businesses, what are they saying?
Oh, everyone's loving the trails. Anytime you put pavement down to get folks off the roadways, it's a plus. It brings value to the communities, improves the quality of life. But our partnership with the Path Foundation has really taken transportation and options to the next level, and we're really excited about Atlanta's futures with trails.
Yeah, we've seen the trail add investment and foot traffic to other parts of the city. How might this connect or spark economic activity here?
Yeah, so it's no secret in Atlanta that trails has really made a difference in our quality of life. So I moved here from New Jersey and discovered all the trails. We have about 85 miles of trails within Atlanta. And my family takes full advantage. My little girls love to get on their scooters and bikes and ride up and down the trails. But, you know, the example that everyone around the world recognizes is the Beltline Trail. And but we don't stop there. We're looking at expanding trails throughout the city so that everyone in Atlanta has a 10-minute walk or ride to a trail anywhere within the city. So we recognize the economic impact, the spur of activity, but it also connects communities, and that's what Atlanta's all about.
Are additional phases ready for funding, or is it more investment needed before you can continue to work?
Yeah, so we have 2 trails currently being constructed to expand the Comet Trail, and we have 34 additional trails expected by year 2035. So there's substantial investment going into trails and full support by our communities from all the feedback we've gotten.
Anything special that we need to be looking out for on the trails? Anything or that's coming?
Yeah, so an active lifestyle is very important as we recognize that our populations are maturing. And the trails give us an option other than driving and, what we're traditionally used to. So we're looking forward to expanding our trails. We should have about 91 miles of trails by 2027. And our work with the Path Foundation and this administration to build a city built for the future is what ATL DOT is all about. And I just will mention that our Vision Zero program is about bringing fatalities and serious injuries due to crashes down to 0 by the year 2040. So this is a great contribution to that goal.
The holidays kicking off, Google is rolling out a new AI tool to help you spruce up those family photos before they hit the mailbox, like removing sunglasses or dropping you in a winter wonderland. It can do all that. It can be done with just a few clicks. Joining us now is a Google Trends expert, Jennifer Jones, to break it all down for us and how all this new, exciting technology works. Welcome to the show, Jennifer.
Hey, Chesley, I'm glad to be here. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Now, what is Google rolling out today as far as an update to headline the holidays?
Yes, you were right. It is exciting. So now you can get your holiday photos ready with new AI features from Google. And you can use Nano Banana, which is Google's viral image editing tool, directly in Google Photos.
Now, how is AI changing the way people edit and share these photos?
Well, you can do more with AI. You can edit, you can create, and you can even search your photos and natural language better with AI. And that's just in time to get those holiday pics spruced up. As you mentioned, you can ask your Google Photos with Nano Banana to remove a subject's sunglasses or a hat from a photo that you want to give as a gift or put on that card. You can request that it's painted with a new festive style, like you said, a winter holiday card, or you could even say, make it look like a professional photo shoot. And there's all kinds of other AI features in Google Photos that can help you edit in both Android and in iOS.
And it's coming out today?
Well, it actually came out earlier this month,
Okay.
but stay tuned because keep an eye on our AI templates. We always have fun news to announce, especially around the holiday season.
Can you give us a little sneak peek of what's coming?
I wish I could. I sure wish I could, but know that it's always moving at lightning fast pace, and there's something always fun that's going to be happening and help you with your AI, have you help enhance your photos.
There may be some people out there that are a little bit afraid of artificial intelligence. How easy is this program to work?
It's extremely easy. So we have had Google Photos has been around forever, and these are really just enhancements to it. It's super fast. You just go into the tool and you can just follow the prompts. You can go to the help me edit option and simply write out your requests in natural language to have personalized edits.
Mm-hmm. And so you just, like using any AI tool, you just write it out and it just does it?
It does.
Wow. See, I'm afraid of it. I'm a little afraid.
Don't be afraid. It's so simple. I think that people are afraid of what's coming, but it's already here. It's happening in real time, and it's got to be user friendly so people can incorporate it into part of their daily lives.
I would imagine people are adding Santa hats now. What's some of the most popular edits that you're seeing out there? Yeah,
lots of fun holiday sweaters for sure. So whatever winter celebration that you have at the end of the year, there's a festive sweater template, there's a winter wonderland template, anything that you want, you can make it happen.
Is there anything that users need to know about privacy with these AI edits?
Yeah, use your best sense. We always recommend that these tools are for 18 and up, but they do, if you're using the product, you have those photos already in there and you can pull from that. And Google is very serious about privacy. So just make sure that you opt in where you want to and follow the settings if you are a little more nervous about that kind of thing.
Yeah, sounds like it's meant to be more fun than anything else. Is this the start of a broader push to bring more creativity to AI Google Photos?
Well, it's already here. It's not the start. We're already doing it. So, Ask Photos is a powerful tool that helps you find your photos easily. It helps you search your gallery easily, and things are just going to keep getting better and better. What have you done, Jennifer? I know you've played with this thing. What have you done? I have. So I have kids, and they're a little bit of course, when it comes to having their photo taken. So I've definitely had a perfect photo with one of them with their eyes closed or half closed. So I've just made those edits right there in Google Photos, and it's simple enough to send off and print. Wow, that is amazing and good technology. Okay, all right, great. I'm looking forward to getting on and playing with it myself. All right, let's welcome back Sarah Farmer, Director of Testing and Evaluation of Center for Advanced Communications Policy at Georgia Tech. Sarah, can you hear me?
I can hear you. And I can hear you. All right, at its highest level, what talk to me about this technology that we're talking about that could help in the childbirth care? Yeah, so we underwent this research because, as you know, pregnancy complications and maternal mortality is an issue in Georgia, particularly in rural areas, as well as across the nation. And we believe that there's a prime opportunity for technologies to improve patient outcomes and increase the safety of mother and baby. But past research has shown us that there are barriers to adoption of the use of these technologies, both for patients and healthcare providers. So our research has shown us that these technologies and the adoption and use of them often hinges on the patient healthcare provider relationship. So as we did this research, we really wanted to better understand the relationship and the attitudes toward technologies for both of these groups. So talk to me about, I got you. Talk to me about why now and what's changed in the technology to make these better outcomes happen. Exactly. Wearable health technologies, and just for the viewers, in case you aren't familiar, the most basic example is kind of an Apple Watch or a Fitbit. So it's any device that you can wear on your body that's collecting and monitoring health data. So Fitbit, Apple Watches are sort of on the consumer side, but then there's also medical grade devices that can be used as well. And we really, the research community is creating new sensors and new capabilities all of the time. But if there's this disconnect between women actually wanting to wear these during labor and delivery and healthcare providers, buying into the adoption of these technologies, that's kind of where the barrier is. And that's what we want to understand. So that as these new wearables and technologies are created, that hopefully women and healthcare providers are actually comfortable using them and trust the data that's coming out of them.
Where do you see the real world usability breaking down most often in these early prototypes?
Oh yeah, so there's a lot of different things going on. So often there's mistrust of the technology. Mm-hmm. There's a lack of adequate training and education. So both the healthcare provider side, they need to understand how to use these technologies. They need to have support if they're troubleshooting. And the same for the women. They really need to understand the utility of these devices and, understand why this data is going to help keep them safe and help keep their babies safe. But beyond that, there's often cost. There's concerns about privacy and security. So it really is the whole system that we have to look at here.
So you guys have done a focus group. You've talked to these mothers. What have they been saying about this, especially about privacy concerns? What else have they been talking about?
Yeah, so we surveyed 4,500 women and healthcare providers across the country, and then we did focus groups with 110 of those individuals, and they have so much to tell us. So we found a couple of interesting things. Women tended to want, when we asked them what measurements they would want to get out of these wearables, they tended to want the more familiar measures that we're already kind of seeing in wired technologies. So things like blood pressure, maternal and fetal heart rate, fetal movement, things like that. Whereas the healthcare providers are wanting that cutting edge data. They want new, data coming in. They want to kind of go beyond what's the standard of care. And so that in itself is kind of a mismatch, a gap, because the women have to buy into these as well. And so I think that is part of the interaction of the relationship between healthcare providers and women who are pregnant, and understanding that relationship and how healthcare providers can provide the information that women need, and help them build trust and things like that.
So I have about 15 seconds left. If I got a mother watching right now, what do you want to tell her about where the technology is headed?
Where the technology is headed, I think that the opportunity to help women is really there. So understanding again where the barriers are, help them understand that there's new technologies and devices, and sometimes that can be a little bit scary, but these are being designed to help them, and we hope that we're able to improve patient outcomes.
New numbers show traffic volume jumping about 18% in the year's final months. And with the holiday parties ramping up, safety officials are worried about the growth concern. Right, Doug Turnbull's here to talk us a little bit more about it. You've been digging into these numbers. What have you been finding out?
Yeah, for sure. Well, look, it is no secret that there's a lot of revelry that goes on this time of year. There's also a lot of stress. We got last minute deadlines. You're trying to get to somebody's house on time for a party. And so I reached out to the Governor's Office of Highway Safety with just some holiday traffic tips, or is there something more that the state is looking for when they're out enforcing on the roadways? And basically, the executive director, Alan Poole, who I've known for years, he told me 3 or 4 different things that they're looking for. Mm-hmm. All right. He told me that they're looking for, of course, impaired driving, and throw in distracted driving with that. Anything that takes your eyes off the road or makes your senses less sharp. And there's a lot of that going on with people at these parties, and a lot of drinking that goes on. Secondly is speeds. We did a story earlier this morning here on 11Alive about how speeding, the more you speed, the more likely you are to lose control and the less reaction time you have. And then with other drivers distracted around you when you're speeding, if you're deciding, hey, I'm going 90 miles an hour and 75, well, if you make a mistake and other people around you are distracted, it's a recipe for disaster. The third thing they're looking for is seatbelt use. All right. And it's really a surprising number. It's been decades that we've had seatbelt laws in cars. Of course, I know people don't just follow the law. OK, but seatbelt use is not 100%. In fact, it's well below that. You are way more likely, Poole says, to survive a crash if you wear your seatbelt. It's just simple math. In fact, he said simply to me, the safest thing for you on the roads is remaining inside that steel cage. Your seatbelt keeps you in place.
Yeah, got to use it. You've been studying and monitoring traffic for a long time. This time of year, do you see a higher volume of accidents or anything like that, distracted driving, in any particular place more than the other?
As far as crashes, I would say the biggest place to see crashes, you look at some of that just marquee traffic we have here around town, really the places where fast meets slow. So think about what we just experienced on Sunday, right? Coming back for the holiday, all right? I was coming back from Jacksonville at 75. You're wide open in South Georgia. Thankfully, my wife was driving. She's the cruise control. We were just 65, 70 miles an hour, real safe speed there. But then that traffic started to slow down north of Macon. And it's when fast meets slow that you see those points. I can't point to a spot around town, Chesley, although interchanges are where fast meets slow, like Spaghetti Junction, 285 connected with 85 or vice versa. But any of those places where fast meets slow, it's a friction point. Friction equals kaboom.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Over the years, especially as technology continues to grow, I find myself even being distracted. It's almost like you got a job, you got these things going on, and driving has become this thing of a must need to do, but I'm also thinking about all these other things. How much of it is just trying to pack your patience and being aware and paying attention?
Look, if you were a driver, you have one responsibility: 2 hands on the wheel, eyes forward. With all of the technology in your car, Chesley, you just mentioned, it's easy to both take your mind off of it, but also let the technology do the navigating and the driving for you. I mean, we have autonomous vehicles now. We have, of course, for years have had GPS apps. Well, even those aids, even the blind spot deals, things that make the car safer, if they take that sharpness out of, I need to look over and check my blind spot, that means you're a little bit less committed to your ride. And then, of course, there's all the stuff your phone can do, even when it does it legally through the car's dashboard.
Wow.
A lot of places your mind could go. When we're at a 70 mile an hour, 3,000 pound bullet, it's best to look ahead.
Yeah, you just start getting dependent on the beeps. Beep, 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 beep. Instead of looking back. I still tend to do that, but I do find myself being distracted. Anything else you want us to know, especially for this holiday season, going into this heavy traffic time?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, the legal limit is 0.08 of blood alcohol content, but if you're really planning on having a drink, and certainly more than one, you need to stay from behind the wheel. There are way too many excuses and ways to get home without forcing yourself to white knuckle and drive. Not only is it illegal, you're just much more likely to crash. A large percentage of crashes involve alcohol.
All right. Doug Turnbull, Gridlock guy, appreciate your insight, man.
Always good to see you, Chesley.
Always keeping us safe, too. Well, now an important reminder as we head deeper into respiratory season. Adults 65 years or older remain at the highest risk for severe illness from COVID-19, flu, and RSV. Health officials say even mild symptoms can turn serious quickly. The CDC says adults 65 years of age or older account for more than half of all respiratory-related hospitalizations each winter, far more than any other age group. This age group also represents nearly 70% of COVID-19 deaths, even as overall mortality has dropped in recent years. The update: COVID, flu, and RSV vaccines can cut the risk of severe illness for older adults by at least 50%, depending on the virus and timing. Here to explain a little bit more about it is Dr. Juanita Mora. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me to discuss such an important topic.
Absolutely. Let's get right into this thing. What is it about the aging body and the immune system that makes respiratory infections more dangerous after 65?
Well, what we know, Chesley, is that our immune system weakens with age. So 65 years and older are going to have a weakened immune system. 2, people greater than 65 years of age and older are also going to be higher risk for chronic medical conditions that make it more likely to have COVID-19 complications, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, asthma, or COPD, and emphysema. And the third thing is when we look at the data from October of 2024 to September of 2025, we have had 44,000 deaths in our country from COVID, and 2/3 have been in people greater than 65 years of age. This is why it's so important that we drive home the message that people get vaccinated.
I think a lot of people out there are thinking, COVID is milder now. You're seeing less people wear masks. What about for our older patients? Is this actually true? Is it milder for them as well, or no?
Well, no, because what we know as well, too, in people greater than 65 years of age, repeated infections put them at higher risk for long COVID symptoms such as new onset asthma or COPD, and even complications such as strokes and development of Alzheimer's, heart attacks, arrhythmia. So this is why it's so important that we continue to get vaccinated and protected.
What about those that say, hey, I just have a cold, right? And they don't, and it turns into something serious.
Well, we want to make sure, one, that people continue to be tested, especially before we get into the holiday gatherings, right? Because we don't want to propagate this virus among our most vulnerable, the newborn babies in our family, the people greater than 65 years of age, anyone who might be on chemo, etc. So we want to make sure that people continue to get tested. COVID-19 test kits are still available at pharmacies. They're inexpensive, and they match well with the current actual virus that's going on right now for COVID-19.
Walk us through the red flag symptoms. You're talking about breathing changes, maybe confusion. You mentioned a few of those. Talk to us about those.
Sure. With COVID-19, what we're seeing now with the current strain that's circulating in our country is a lot of sore throat, high fevers. Begins like a regular cold. So it begins with a runny nose, nasal congestion, postnasal drip. But then it turns into some of the actual symptoms that we know well, that hard cough that people get that won't go away, and the wheezing that can occur. And then also people are getting the loss of taste and the loss of smell that continues to be part of COVID-19. Mm-hmm. Now, worrisome symptoms that I always teach patients, making sure that they go to an ER for any worsening shortness of breath or wheezing, a cough that won't stop, or any neurological changes, fatigue, or signs of dehydration. Because sick people sometimes can't drink or eat, so they might be sleeping all day, lots of fatigue, and are greater than 65 years of age, and our younger ones, we need to monitor that as well, too.
Yeah. All right. Lastly, for those that are watching who may be a little bit skeptical, right, what one piece of data or advice or anything that you can give them to help them, push them over the top to go ahead and get checked out, or get that cough checked out?
Sure. So first thing is go to a trustworthy website where you can get more information on COVID-19 vaccines. So that's going to be at the Champions for Vaccine Education, Equity and Progress, CVEEP.org, or you can go to your local Department of Public Health, talk to your trusted messenger, your local doctor, your local pharmacist. Remember, COVID-19 vaccines are well covered under insurance, even Medicaid and Medicare private insurance. So 'tis the time to get vaccinated and protected. And if you are skeptical, have the conversation with your doctor like my patients do with me. And I love, so that way I can share good information and clinical research and make it so you can make a decision based on science.
Cobb County is taking a major step toward what it believes to be the future of transportation. A new $6.6 million federal grant will help launch autonomous shuttle network in the heart of the Cumberland District, connecting everything from Truist Park to the Convention Center. Kim Menifee, the executive director of the Cumberland Community Improvement District, is here to break down what this means for mobility, access, and our everyday commuters. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, Chesley. Great to be here.
Glad you're here. All right, so what does this project signal about the future of transportation in Cobb County?
We are very excited to be partnering with Cobb County to bring autonomous mobility to Cumberland. Cumberland is one of the busiest job communities in the metro Atlanta area. We're also a major destination for enjoyment, and we really are super excited to be able to bring this project forward for those who live, work, and visit the district. The shuttle network will have 8 American-made ADA accessible shuttles that will help connect people to jobs as well as all the major destinations in Cumberland.
So we're looking at one right now on the screen, and this looks like it's almost like a rail car. So will it not be on the road? Will it have its own kind of pathway that connects everything together?
Actually, the technology will be the most advanced available. It will run in lane on the road up to 35 miles per hour, and the shuttles will carry 12 to 15 passengers, creating reliable, efficient public transit for our community.
Wow. How critical was the federal grant that was given to get these autonomous shuttles networks off the ground?
The funding was absolutely essential. We are absolutely grateful to the Federal Transit Administration for their confidence in this project to be able to bring this public transit, this next generation transit to our community. Without the funding, we would not have been able to partner with Cobb County. This project will actually be a part of Cobb Link, the public transit that runs here in Cobb County. They will be the operators, and we will work with them to launch this program in 2027.
Yeah. What does it mean for residents who may not currently have easy access to reliable transit?
Well, what's really exciting is that this, the autonomous mobility is part of a larger project called the Cumberland Sweep. So we are working to make walking, biking, and autonomous mobility more accessible, helping people connect to current transit and future transit, as well as all of the major destinations here in Cumberland, as you mentioned, from Truist Park and the Battery to the Cobb Convention Center to the Cobb Performing Arts Center to our retail hubs, as well as the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. So it really provides a wonderful opportunity to connect to jobs and recreation in the community.
So those autonomous vehicles will stay on that particular path, right? That will be the designated route for those particular cars.
Yes, Cobb County will design the route. We'll be working with them. That will create the greatest and most reliable, efficient connections within Cumberland. We'll be designing the route. We'll be working with Beep. They are a leader in autonomous mobility to determine the the right shuttle to be able to bring and to activate as part of this network. So we're excited about working in partnership with Cobb and Beep to be able to bring autonomous mobility to our community. We know it will be a real winner, helping people connect in a much more efficient and reliable way using next generation technology.
Yeah, it has a target date of 2027, right? What still needs to happen to make sure we hit that target date?
It does. So we'll begin the planning now, working closely with our leaders at Cobb County, which we are very grateful for their partnership, to be able to work towards the planning effort so that we can put these shuttles on the ground, working with Beep to determine, as I said, the right shuttle to be able to bring forward. But we know that this autonomous mobility is going to be a real game changer in Cumberland, helping really people connect for that first and last mile connectivity that is sometimes a challenge for people. So we're very excited about what this means in Cumberland.
Who would you say is going to benefit the most from this new technology and transportation?
Everyone who works and lives and visits the district. We are a major job center. We have 88,000 jobs, 3,800 employers that are here within the Cumberland district. We have over 30,000 residents and millions of visitors who visit Cumberland every year. So we know that this shuttle system, everyone will benefit. And we hope that this grant will allow us to launch the program in 2027 and that we'll continue to build on it so we can bring public transit forward using this most advanced technology for decades to come.
Lastly, Kim, do you see this as a broader way to connect all of Metro Atlanta? Could that be possible with this?
Absolutely. The technology is here. So working through all the regulatory process as we are seeing this technology advance and become more available in the United States, this is a great way to bring public transit forward. It's much more affordable, and again, it's reliable and efficient, and it's a way for people to move around very quickly utilizing current transit. And then again, we want to see more transit in our city. So we believe this is a great first step, and Cumberland is the perfect place to launch an autonomous mobility network.
Yep, we are looking at the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season ending on Sunday, and it was one for the record books. Probably not in the way that many expect. A lot of people are calling this a quiet season because for the first time in a decade, no hurricanes made landfall in the United States. Now, NOAA had forecast a 60% chance of above average season with 13 to 19 named storms in the Atlantic Basin. It predicted 6 to 10 hurricanes, 3 to 5 major hurricanes. The season wound up with 13 named storms and 5 hurricanes, but 4 of them were major hurricanes. That's 1 less named storm and fewer hurricanes than average, but 1 more major than average and slightly more average cyclonic energy in the Atlantic Basin. There are plenty of records with this particular season that was produced, like the second most Category 5 storms in modern history. The storms wound up being more, we had more major hurricanes, and we had more days, hurricane days, than average. By the way, we're only 5 months away from the first hurricane forecast for 2026. That's planned for April 9th. Folks. Yeah, this one, we didn't really hear a lot about hurricanes until the very end, right? You remember Melissa that ran through Jamaica, strongest hurricane to ever hit that region, right? One of the strongest as far as its power goes. And so that was the last one of the season. We made it all the way down to M, and it was pretty quiet because a lot of them stayed out to sea. And we had a lot of tropical storms as well. Most of the hurricanes that formed became major hurricanes. So it gives us a sign that there could be more powerful things to come. So make sure you pay close attention to the forecast, folks, especially the one that comes out from Colorado State, the April 9th. That will come out first. Again, 5 months away, only 5 months away from that. Wow, a lot to look forward to as far as our weather goes, and it's getting bigger and stronger. You know, if you want to look forward to that. Have a great day, folks. We got much more for you coming up right here on 11 Live Plus. Stay tuned for the very latest on your weather, traffic, and the latest news.